The 4th of October 2025. From the skyline, 60 Garand 2 drones surged toward Kharkiv, the largest UAV barrage Russia has launched against Ukraine to date. Each bomber carries 88 pounds of explosive. The objectives are obvious: substations, power plants, gas mains. If the attack succeeds, this winter could tip into an energy catastrophe. Hospitals darkened, supply chains crippled, civilians in turmoil, and Kyiv forced to thin its defenses. How will Ukraine answer an assault of this magnitude? That story unfolds in this video. 7:40 a.m. the 4th of October 2025. 60 Garand 2 UAVs roar in from the horizon toward Kharkiv. Launch orders came through a covert network. The aim isn't a naval target, but the region's circulatory system, power stations, substations, gas arteries. When the lights go out, hospitals, supply hubs, and logistics choke. Both the military effort and everyday life pay the price. One Garand 2 costs roughly $40,000. Each carries 88 pounds of explosives. Its range can reach up to 1,243 miles when paired with INS and GNSS guidance plus an electro-optical seeker. 8:42 The drones cross the border. Regional early warning radars come alive. Long-range antennas comb the sky. An L-band radar with about a 311-mile detection range pieces dozens of faint blips into a coherent track. Although the Garand 2 has a small radar cross-section and flies low to hide, modern long-range radar and ELINT turned fuzzy returns into a solid vector. Multiple low RCS contacts bearing 278 appear. In the command post, the alarm screams. The commander barks orders: activate SAMs, warn civilians, shut fuel valves, isolate critical substations. The warning window buys precious minutes time to bring up IRIS-T SLM and Patriot systems and to move thousands out of harm's way. Moscow's intent is clear: strike energy infrastructure ahead of winter to sow civilian chaos, drag Kyiv into a humanitarian crisis, and force the military to stretch thin. The tactic is brutal and binary: inflict rapid damage and create a wrenching choice for Kyiv: protect people or hold the grid. 8:45 Orders to fire SAMs are issued. IRIS-T SLM crews snap into action. This medium-range air defense missile has an effective envelope of roughly 25 miles and ceilings approaching 65,000 feet, designed to kill small, maneuvering threats like UAVs and cruise missiles. Exactly what Kyiv needs to screen a drone swarm. Local radars lock targets. Firing solutions stream directly to IRIS launchers. 8:48 The long-range shield joins the fight. Patriot PAC-2 batteries come online. A wide-area layer with practical reach beyond 37 miles and intercept speeds surpassing Mach 2, suited to blunt clusters of UAVs or mid-altitude intruders before they can reach critical nodes. Patriot functions as a regional shield, meshing with IRIS to form a layered defense. 8:52 The launch command is given. Like steel spears, IRIS and Patriot missiles streak upward. Displays trace converging intercepts. Detonation flashes mark where the first drone groups vaporize. The defense neutralizes nearly 90% of the assault thanks to radar fusion and rapid engagement. Helicopter footage catches wisps of smoke low on the horizon. Fragments of Garand 2 seconds tumbling earthward, yet sheer numbers still find gaps. A handful of drones slip through and slam into a residential block near a kindergarten. Infrastructure damage is severe, but thanks to rapid evacuation, there are no fatalities. In the command center, soldiers exhale. Data screens confirm the radar network bought the minutes that mattered, minutes that turned a catastrophic strike into a manageable loss. Fewer lives lost, more assets preserved, the difference between chaos and control. Moscow has learned its blitz can be blunted. 8:58 While the displays still show falling tracks, ELINT centers and satellite imagery analysts go to work. Technicians cross-check telemetry, timestamps, and firing vectors. Every clue converges on one origin: the Crimean Peninsula. Novo-Fedorivka, divided by Saki, a military airfield with fuel pits, UAV repair shelters, and multiple temporary hardstands. Satellite photos reveal rows of mobile launchers, camouflage storage, and a logistics route leading inland, a textbook swarm launch hub. A retaliation decision arrives within minutes. Two Storm Shadow divided by Scalp missiles are chosen to cut the head off the network. Storm Shadow carries a penetrator divided by thermobaric warhead, weighing roughly 992 pounds, built to burrow and detonate inside hardened shelters. It flies low with terrain following to evade radar, precisely the weapon to destroy reinforced storage. Because the launch node sits on Crimea and is defended locally, the strike is routed through Allied aircraft rather than ground launch. 9:12 RAF divided by Allied jets lift off from Mihail Kogălniceanu Air Base in Romania. This Black Sea NATO base has tanker support and navigation infrastructure and sits outside the immediate engagement envelope for Crimea. Aircraft can launch, receive real-time targeting updates, and fire without gambling on luck. 09, 24 inches, the cockpit console's technicians load exact exact coordinates. The first missile departs the rail, the second follows tens of seconds later. Both fly low, hugging terrain while guided by encrypted navigation. On operator screens, they're tiny blips. On the ground, the sequence of outer blast followed by internal detonation begins. 9:27. The first warhead detonates on the shelter exterior, ripping camouflage and breaching the cover. The second penetrates deeper. The broach divided by penetrator sequences trigger, and the interior erupts. Bunkers and launcher bays are leveled. Minutes later, satellite images show a crater, smoke plumes, and fields of rubble where launch racks once stood. The tactical result is immediate. The mass launch node is neutralized. Satellites and airborne ISR, still over the area, show shattered dispersal pads, collapsed storage, and charred metal where launch gear had been. The operational payoff is clear. Within an hour, outbound telemetry collapses. What had been dozens of coordinated command links and flight corridors simply stop for the next 72 hours. The operational tempo of swarm strikes drops by an order of magnitude. On the ground, the damage is brutal but contained. The main fuel pit is burned out, and logistics roads show secondary cratering. Thanks to the morning warning and the 20-minute civilian evacuation, mass casualties in Kharkiv are averted. The loss is material, not human. Substations and a handful of neighborhoods suffer outages measured in hours rather than days because repair crews pre-staged from regional power companies moved quickly. The contrast is stark. Infrastructure scarred, people alive. Militarily, Moscow reacts predictably. Emergency councils convene. Diplomatic protests flow. Planners scramble to reconstitute launch capability via mobile cells, dispersed depots, and alternate sea or deep inland platforms. Those changes open fresh vulnerabilities. Logistics thin, maintenance cycles disrupted, morale among launch crews shaken after watching a major node vaporize in minutes. Politically, Kiev's response hardened alliances. NATO intelligence sharing channels were credited for rapid attribution. The operation was framed as a precise countermeasure rather than indiscriminate escalation. Public opinion tilted toward Kiev. Headlines praised decisive self-defense. At the same time, Moscow threatened reprisals, raising the risk of tit-for-tat attacks on logistics or energy infrastructure elsewhere. Operational lessons are immediate. First, an integrated defensive posture long-range radar plus IRIS-T SLM, medium-range and Patriot long-range layers blunted the initial onslaught. Second, striking the source of swarm launches proved far more efficient than trying to shoot every incoming drone. 2 cruise missiles with penetrator warheads did in minutes what dozens of intercepts could not. The battlefield briefly shifted. Invest in counter-infrastructure strikes and intelligence fusion rather than only defensive interceptors. Third, escalation management is fragile. A surgical strike that destroys a hostile facility can deter future swarm attacks, but it risks diplomatic blowback, coercive reprisals, and escalation to wider strikes on infrastructure. Political leaders must balance military necessity with alliance, diplomacy, and legal framing, emphasizing self-defense, proportionality, and transparency. Finally, resilience is strategic. Hardened, redundant grids, rapid repair task forces, dispersed logistics, and investments in electronic warfare to deny GNSS and command links reduce the leverage of low-cost swarms. International cooperation, shared ISR, tanker support for long-range strikes, and clear legal backing magnify effect quickly. In short, the future battle space will be won by those who combine sensors, timely strike options, and societal resilience. The Novo-Fedorivka episode is a case study. Cheap swarms can wreak havoc, but a coordinated, intelligence-driven response can blunt, then break their power. The takeaway is simple. Will nations invest now in radars, integrated defenses, and rapid strike capabilities, or will they wait and learn the lesson the hard way?